Hey beauties, welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to be going over yet another very large, very colorful eyeshadow palette, this time from Anastasia Beverly Hills. I have here the new Norvina collection, the Pro Pigment Volume 2. If you remember, just recently she came out with the Pro Pigment Volume 1. This one leaned more on the purple side. I'm going to open this one up really quickly. So you can see here, you have 25 different shades and you have a lot of purple in here with some splashes of color. And this time we have blue-green. This one has that same type of packaging, the really nice plastic, heavy duty. You're getting that large mirror on the inside right here. I have to make sure I'm not like blinding you guys. And then you have 25 brand new shades, and these, as you can see, lean more to the blues and the greens, which is true to the outside packaging, just like the last purple one. Keep in mind that this is a Pro Pigment palette, so these are pressed pigments. So if you've ever had any issues with staining or anything like that, these can do the same thing. And then you do have metallics in here as well. Another thing, just like the original, is the lettering and numbering system. So you have a row of A, B, C, D, and E, and then 1 through 5. This was sent to me in PR, so unfortunately, I don't have a website to look at to be able to tell you guys like the shade descriptions. So when I show you guys the swatches, it's going to be a 1 through 5 and so forth. But if you want to see them on the screen longer, just wait till the very end of the video, and I will keep them up for you guys so you can actually take a longer peek at them. The Pro Pigment Volume 2 comes out today, so if it's not already available right now, it will be available later in the day, but I'm assuming it should be available by the time I post this. And if I'm reading things correctly, Pro Pigment Volume 3 should also be released today. Now, I do not have that palette, but I will be purchasing it today, so whether or not I end up getting it in PR or not, I will have it so that I can do some more looks and comparisons for you guys. Without further ado, let me go ahead and get into the swatches. First off, we have the row A, 1 through 5, B, 1 through 5, C, 1 through 5. I feel like I'm being so repetitive. D, 1 through 5, and then lastly, we have the row E, 1 through 5. Now I'm going to go ahead and get into the 3 different eye looks for you guys. The first 2, this is just to save my lashes because it seems to be that every single palette that's coming out recently has been ones I need to do multiple looks with. I am just doing one eye, and then I am washing it off. I'm not adding any mascara or anything like that, and that's because, like I said, I want to save my lashes. After those 2, I will wash off my face, and then I will show you how I created this look right here. So let's go ahead and get started. Refer P07A and E1. I'm going to apply this directly into the crease. As you can see, that's a lot of pigmentation there. I'm just going to go back and forth windshield wiper motions, and then I'm going to start using circular motions to start softly bringing this upward into the transition area. I'm not going to pick up any more product. So that was one dip into the product, and I'm going to work this out because I don't want it to be too dark. Refer P07C and B2. I am going to start this on the outer corner as well as the inner corner. And then I'm going to take it into the crease and then slightly start working it upward really softly and slowly. MAC 242 and A5. I am going to place this on the center of the lid, pressing it into place first, and then I'm going to start tapping around the edges to blend it out. Using the same brush, I'm going to grab the shade A3. I'm placing this just on the very center of the lid. I'm starting at the bottom right against the lash line, and then I'm kind of going to make a little arch out of it. I'm not even taking this up to the crease area. I want the majority of it to be right at the lash line. So when I look, it's kind of like a little pop right there, and then just blending out the edge in like that half moon type of shape. Again, still sticking with the same brush, and I'm going to grab the shade C1. I'm going to take this right to the brow arch, and then just slightly blend this out. I don't want to take it all the way in. I will drag it all the way out. Royal Inlaying Nickel BOM 48 in the shade D1. I'm going to place this right on the inner corner. Using the same brush, I'm going to go back in with the shade E1. I am going to run this all along the lower lash line, back and forth. Same brush, I'm going to grab the shade C3. I am going to pinpoint this closer to the lash line. I'm not going to drag it down as far as I did the green. And this is going to be the finishing touch for this look, and I'm going to move on to the other eye. BK Beauty 201 in the shade D2. I'm going to start this off on the very outer corner. Just kind of tapping it in, and then I'm going to be bringing it upwards. But this has a lot of pigmentation, so I'm going to do it very slowly. I am not going to be bringing this all the way into the crease. I'm basically going to focus this just on this outer portion. I'm really going to take my time and make sure I blend it and blow it out without bringing it too far. The edge of this can come in just a little bit because I'm going to blend a shade right in the center, but just don't bring it any further than that. And make sure you really blow out this outer corner. Now I'm going to add just a little bit more on the outer corner, but not bringing it upward. Same shade on a Royal Inlaying Nickel BOM 47. I'm going to apply this right underneath where I applied it at the top to the lower lash line. Royal Inlaying Nickel BOM 46 in the shade D3. I am going to stamp this right beside and barely over the lash shade we laid down. I'm going to bring it up into the crease softly and bring it a little bit inward. Making sure I blend this into the orange so that they merge together. Again, I'm going to take that right along the lower lash line, right under where I applied it up top with the number 47. I have to be really careful about this. Wipe it off and then blend it in. Now I'm going to take this yellow D4 on a Royal Inlaying Nickel BOM 15. I'm going to stamp this on the inner portion, making sure I get it on the lower lash line as well. I'm going to blend it into that pink. Linda Hallberg 303 in the shade A1. I am applying this damp right up against the top lash line. I remember last time I used the shade A1 in the last Norvina palette, and I said it reminded me of steak. And I immediately just got that thought again. And somebody asked me, "You don't use A1 on your steak, do you?" I was like, "No." But it's always at the table, you know? I always have filet. I'm a filet girl. You can ask Kelsey. I always have filet. But no, a good steak does not need A1, which is I said, it's always sitting there at the table. And now lastly, I'm going to go in with my MAC 283 in the shade C1. This is the designated brow arch shade in the palette. I am going to go wash off my face and start all over again. So these are the final 2 looks. Sonia G Crease 2 in the shade E4. I barely got any product on my brush. I'm going to start applying this to the very outer corner first. See how pigmented that is. And that is why I got just a little bit of product. I'm going to start blending this out. Working it upward. Take my time. I'm not really concentrating on what this looks like right here, because I will fix that later. I don't want there to be too much pigmentation right here to have to move around. So if this looks a little bit patchy at first, that is because I don't want a lot of product on my brush. I don't want a lot of product right here, so that it's easier for me to blend this out and make a lighter shade out of it. And as you can see, it's doing that just nicely. That's one application. Now I'm going to do the same thing again. I want to start on the outer corner so that that's where the majority of the product goes, and then slowly start working it up again. This is a great trick to use anytime there's not a transition shade for you, or there's just not one that's light enough for your liking. All you have to do is start on this outer corner, pack on the pigment, get the majority of it off the brush right in this area, and then just slowly work it upward. Smith 230 in the shade C5. If you wanted to, you could just go back in with the last shade we used and just use it with its full potential. But I want to test out another shade. I really just wanted to use that other one for my transition. So I'm taking this on the outer corner, about halfway across the lid. And then I'm going to work it into the crease. Again, a lot of pigmentation here, so I want to be careful. Go in slower motions. And I'm going to slowly work this upward. Tiny little circular motions, nowhere near as big as I did last time. This color is beautiful. Sonia G Builder 3 in the shade E2. I am going to pack this on the front portion of the lid and then tapping over the last shade we laid down. Esom W21 and the shade C1, like I mentioned before, also known as the designated brow arch shade. I'm taking the excess a little further in because I want to clean up this area. Doing that, just feathering it right around here or anywhere that you feel like it looks just a little bit messy, can really help to bring the shape together. A4 on a Tom Ford number 12 synthetic brush. I am going to apply this to the lower lash line. Now when I swatched this, it was a little iffy and it kind of looks a little iffy right now. So what I'm going to do is use this wet. See how much, yeah, that's much better. Much better with it wet. Stilazzi Mini Definer and back in with C1. I'm going to apply this to the inner corner and then I'm going to go add on inner rim liner and mascara. I finished up yet another one of my Milk Boss liners, so I'm gonna have to open up another one of those and put that in my empty bin. I've been going through those like hotcakes recently. Don't know why. Anyway, getting into my thoughts on the new Norvina Collection Pro Pigment Palette Volume 2. First off, just like the original one, I love this packaging and I love the amount of shades you're getting for $60. The smaller ones are $42 to $45, so I just think that $60 for 25 shades is amazing. And the shades in here are beautiful. This one is going to appeal to somebody who likes more of the blues and the greens with other pops of colors, whereas this one appeals to somebody who likes more of the purples and then pops of colors. I didn't have issues with any of the shades that I used today other than A4. This one I knew right away. When I touched it, I was like, yeah, it felt a little bit different than the other shades in the palette. A4 obviously worked much better when I did apply it wet, so it's not like it's an unusable shade or anything like that. It's just that I would have to use it wet, and I prefer to use my metallics dry. I just like just slightly a little bit more smooth kind of appearance, but I'm not mad at it. This one down here, I love, and I don't think that you're gonna get the true effect on camera, but this has like this beautiful duochrome to it. It's the shade, the E2. It's beautiful. When I touched that one, I was like, oh yes, we're using that. This blue right here, it kind of, just a little bit, reminds me of that blue that I love in the Aries. I think this one might be like a slightly more on the sky blue, whereas the other one is just, it packs a little bit more of a punch. But when I played with this, that is instantly what I thought of. Oh, or the one in the Tropic. Yeah, this is like a better version of the one that's in the Tropic palette. Yeah, that's what I'm thinking of. Okay. Anyway, moving along. This shade was beautiful. Everything else I used on my eyes, I had no issue with. Overall, I think this palette is beautiful. Again, more on the blue and green side. I personally, I like the first one a little bit better just because of the color scheme, not because of quality. I just prefer these colors. I like these. I love this shade right here. This is just, it's really, really beautiful. That's one of my favorite looks that I did was with this shade. I will have to get back to you guys on the third one and let you guys know which one is my favorite out of the three. But I think that she really kept the quality with both of the palettes. I think they're both worth it. And I think it's just going to be personal preference on what colors are your favorites. And yeah, these are definitely meant for somebody who wants color. But anywho, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, please give it a thumbs up, subscribe if you're not already, and I will see you guys in my next video. Bye guys.